Hello, this is Keith Carmona, principal at Kramer Middle School.
And I'm Kathy Smith, the GATE coordinator here at Kramer and an 8th grade language arts teacher.
This presentation is designed to assist parents in helping their new GATE students in the Kramer Middle School program. So if you're a new parent of a 7th grader or possibly you're joining our program in 8th grade, hopefully we'll have some tips here to help your child be successful over the next 2 years in the GATE program. When we talk about our GATE students, the first thing we'd like to mention is the whole notion of growth mindset and fixed mindset. So a woman by the name of Carol Dweck out of Stanford has done a lot of work in looking at keeping a growth mindset and helping students and adults even really learn from mistakes and understand that growth is, that learning is something that we're constantly growing to do. And it's really important to keep this in mind when we think about our GATE students, because many of them come in very talented and very intelligent, and we want to promote the idea that that is not a static thing, and that students can continue to grow even though they come in with some incredible talents. Studies show that teaching students to have a growth mindset, particularly our GATE students, our gifted students, will help encourage a focus on effort rather than on intelligence, and will make them into high achievers in school and life. And the reason this is important is that we don't want our kids to fixate on what they already know or what their gift that has been given to them in their intelligence, but to focus on how to access that gift and push it forward. So at home, there's several things that you can do to really encourage a growth mindset. Really encourage practice. Practice over perfection. So even if a student has all of their math homework assignments correct, really try to encourage practicing that, or possibly looking at more difficult problems. Celebrating mistakes. This is harder for some of our perfectionist kids, but really helping students, communicating to students that the mistakes are an opportunity to learn, which leads into the next one about idealizing improvement. Really, with our gifted students, we want to push forward the idea that there never is a perfect, that there never is a final end product, that we're continuing to learn. And that's a shift for a lot of our kids, but the manner in which you can encourage that at home is really good. We'd encourage you to go home and or while you're at home, Google Carol Dweck's name and check out some of the YouTube videos that she has. It's pretty inspirational.
When you transition into middle school, many students are used to 1 or 2 classroom teachers that they see during the day. And all of a sudden now they see 7 different teachers for 45 minutes, and they have to transition fairly quickly throughout the day. So helping them to get used to that new schedule is something the first couple of weeks especially we want to help with. They also need to sort of juggle the homework between each one of those different classes, because now homework is part of their academic grade. It is not a significant part, but it's a part that is there to help them continue and learn what they need for their tests and their performance tasks. Concepts become a little more abstract, especially in mathematics, and in order for students to be able to grasp that, it's important for them to have some home reflection time with that. They need to rely less on the things they've already known and be basically willing to open their minds and expand on that. Studying at home is very important, and hopefully you can help with that, help their time management. Check the Pride schedule each week. Know what that looks like so you can help guide your student to that. And help students to be their own self-advocates. They can approach teachers easily through a variety of ways, in person during Pride or break. They can also contact by email. They can also contact through Google Classroom. But encourage your child to be that contact first. Let them be their own self-advocate. Again, we are looking at depth and rigor in the GATE program, as many of them have been in a GATE magnet before. We're building on that. They are going to be taking essential questions and analyzing as historians, scientists, mathematicians, etc. And they're going to start seeing the connections between all of these. So science may connect with math, or science may connect with social studies. Language arts and social studies will have thematic units that are going to help them look at different trends and look at different patterns in history. So you'll all of a sudden start seeing this depth and rigor begin to take real active parts in their lessons. In the classroom, you're going to see things that, as I said, do connect between different classes. And you may see some projects and assignments that are counted in both classes. For example, in social studies and language arts, they may be reading a novel in language arts, and social studies is studying a period of history that's represented in that novel. At the end of the unit, there's going to be a performance task that may count for both classes because it's a connected idea, a connected question. Again, helping your child at home is critical in letting them know that they need to check their ARIES, and show them and show you how to check their ARIES grades so that you can see where they are going in the classroom, and that they can recognize, oh, there was an assignment I forgot to turn in and it's showing up now that it's not there. Most teachers will update their grades weekly to bi-weekly, and your child is very well aware, hopefully by now, of how to check that himself or herself. When a child is absent, each teacher has a process for checking on absent work. Probably one of the most obvious places to do that is Google Classroom. All teachers will try to update that daily so that students who are out can either access the materials or at least the assignment. But also, kids can check with their study buddy, somebody they know that's in their class. And then when they come back to school, they need to come in and check the Pride schedule to know exactly when that teacher is available to check on homework. And again, Pride, make the best use of the Pride time. And we're going to be talking about that in the next couple of slides, but that way they can really utilize time during the school day to study and to get caught up.
So we've mentioned Pride a few times. Really, Pride is designed to serve students in a variety of purposes. Number one, it can serve as an intervention. If your child's struggling in one of their classes, needs extra help, maybe they didn't do well on a test or missed an assignment or require extra time on a science lab, they can go in to their teacher's classroom during the Pride time. That Pride time is 30 minutes, Tuesday through Friday, in the middle of the school day. So it falls between third and fourth period, between 11:30 and 12 o'clock. And so they can go in almost like office hours in college and go meet with their teacher in a smaller setting to get some of those questions answered. Additionally, there's enrichment opportunities. So there's some fun activities and games that teachers will offer up if students if their grades are where they need to be and they're all caught up in their assignments, that's an option for kids. Lastly, we know that one option for students is study hall that they really enjoy taking advantage of. We have very involved kids in sports and scouts and church and all of those types of things. So an additional 30 minutes of homework time in the middle of the day comes as a good option for a lot of our students. In terms of the Pride schedule, we would really encourage parents to be an active participant in helping students decide where they're going to go for Pride. The schedule changes daily. So every Tuesday through Friday, there is a different offering of Pride classes for your child to pick from. So if you go on the school website, as you see in the picture here, and you click on the left-hand side where it says Pride, there will be a link that says, click here to access this week's Pride schedules. You go on that, and you will be able to sit down with your child and take a look at what the Pride schedules are for that week. And so that if you know, after having looked at their grades, that maybe language arts or perhaps social studies isn't where it needs to be, and that you see that their social studies teacher is offering a specific help session, that would be a great option for your child to attend.
So how can you help your child at home? I know that when they come home and show you their planner or open up their planner to start their homework time, that you're thinking they're middle school. They need to be self-advocates for getting themselves started. And that's true. But monitor that. Check to make sure that they've got a place to study, that there's a specific time that all of their devices are used for study, not necessarily for communicating socially with their friends on Google Classroom, but that they're actually being used for the right purpose. And if your child is spending 5 hours a night and struggling to go to bed by midnight, we can talk about that, but it looks as if perhaps your child is spending more time unnecessary on one subject and maybe then saving others later when they're cramming it in. So again, help in organizing their time. Check their backpacks. There might be some notices in there that's for you that they might have forgotten to bring a flyer home. So just help their backpacks and binders be clean of paper. We're really focusing here on school on the universal binder, making sure it's organized and that every student has one that's functioning the way it should be.
we really encourage students in the middle school level to become active studiers. And this is something that can be a bit of a transition for middle school students because a lot of our GATE students, because a lot of our GATE students have had an elementary experience where they can hear something in class for the first time, maybe take a few notes on it, but then have it pretty down so that they feel comfortable with mastery of that content. As the content becomes a little bit more difficult in middle school, that active studying process really becomes crucial. So the difference between note-taking and note-making would be, rather than just taking notes and when it comes time to study a test, just looking over the notes passively, encouraging students to pick up their pen, pick up their highlighter, open their book while they're looking at their notes and go back and make revisions, add to the notes or clarify pieces of the notes based upon what they have learned since originally taking the notes. That whole process of encouraging kids to not just passively look at information and expect that, okay, now I remember doing it in the class the first time as being the best way to study for tests, but having them be active studiers is going to allow them to be more successful in their classes. The Placentia Yorba Linda Unified School District policy for homework in the middle school level is 20 minutes per night per core content area. There is a caveat there that allows GATE and accelerated students to have additional homework to allow for depth and complexity. That being said, it is not our goal to have your students have a crazy amount of homework every single night. The GATE team has done a lot of work over the last couple of years discussing the value of homework and ensuring that what kids are going to be working on at home is meaningful and is reinforcing what was going on in the classroom, or in all likelihood a continuing of what was being worked on in the classroom. On occasion, there will be longer projects, maybe it's writing assignments, essays, things of that nature that may require additional time. Usually in those cases, the teachers are providing several days, if not a week or more, to work on those assignments. So if you're seeing that your child is working on an assignment seemingly a little bit too long, it's worth questioning when it was assigned and whether or not they were using proper time management to complete that assignment. If you ever have questions about how long a homework assignment is taking, please contact the teacher. They would love to be able to answer those questions. Sometimes our GATE students are such perfectionists that we assign a homework assignment that is really only intended to take maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and our wonderful perfectionist kids will take upwards of an hour to complete that assignment. So the teachers will do their best to communicate with the students how long a homework assignment should take. But if you're unclear about any of that, please do communicate with the teachers so we can get a realistic idea of how long your students are taking with homework, and we can make that a proper amount of time. We know that middle schoolers are social beings. They are growing physically. It's a very big transition for them. It's worth noting that within our gifted students, that their academic ability and all their gifts there may not match their social maturity. So the work that you can do at home to help guide students on normal social cues and social interactions and praising appropriate social interactions and correcting ones that might not be right will really help them thrive as they go into the classroom and on campus in middle school, and particularly when they get to high school. So we have a lot of resources available, and hopefully this presentation was helpful, but we encourage you to use all of those online resources we talked about, Aries, Google Classroom. There's an online math textbook. What's not listed there is an online language arts textbook. Pride, our counselors, we have an incredibly supportive GATE staff that if you have any questions, they would be happy to answer for you. And then lastly, we have parent conferences in the fall and the spring for kids that are not quite meeting the mark but need some additional help. So that's not for all students, and we will reach out to you and contact you if that is your child. So hopefully this presentation was helpful for you. If you've got additional questions about our program or ways that we can support your student, please reach out to us. We would love to hear from you and find out whatever we can do to make your child's experience in the GATE program the best it can possibly be.
We look forward to meeting you throughout the next 2 years if your child is a 7th grader, and throughout the next year as you finish his 8th grade year.
Thank you very much.